Wayne Couzens hospitalised in HMP Frankland Prison. That's what I'm talking about in this episode, because a lot of you who've been watching my channel have been waiting for updates on Wayne Couzens, because I've done videos on him previously. And those of you who don't know, Wayne Couzens is the police officer responsible for the murder of Sarah Everard. Now, the case was quite distressing, and a lot of people have different theories about, not just about the case, but about him. And a lot of the ones, or what a lot of people are saying about it, is saying this couldn't have been the first time he's done it. First time he's done it and first time he's been caught. There's probably a lot more victims out there, and there's definitely been a lot more to the case than what people know of. But the reason I'm talking about him in this episode is because Wayne Couzens is back in prison now, but he's actually been in hospital in a critical condition because he had a heart attack inside HMP Frankland. And I believe he's on A wing in Frankland, which is the nonce wings. There's 4 bacon wings in Frankland, which is A, B, C, and D. There's a lot more of those type of prisoners than there is general population prisoners or normal location. Same difference. But I've gotten this information because none of this is in the public domain. There's nothing online. If you go and Google it, put it up, nothing comes up. On the news app that I normally tell you all about the prison stories, nothing has come on there. But I have been getting emails from, shall I say, staff that is working inside the prison who have been following my channel for a number of years. Because, as you can quite imagine, prison channel, a lot of the people that watch this channel are either screws, doctors, nurses, whatever, that work inside the hospitals. And a lot of them do reach out all the time and give us different stories. But this one has come from a reliable source that is currently working inside HMP Frankland. And they said, I think this should be aired on your channel because a lot of people are waiting to hear. When I've done the video, which is on the main part of my channel, if you go and have a look, you'll have already seen, if you're a subscriber and you've been watching for a long time. And it's one of my biggest views on my videos, which is what happens to police officers inside of prison. And the two that I'm mainly talking about is David Carrick and Wayne Couzens. So in that video, I go on to describe what actually happens to these type of offenders in prison, not just police officers, but S-offenders, bacons. You get me drift, you know which type of offenders I'm talking about. And I'll go into depth about what happens to these type of prisoners. And a lot of people in the comments, if you go back and have a look, they're saying, I can't wait until you put a video up and tell us that Wayne Couzens has had the prison justice or the treatment that he deserves inside of prison. So I have been waiting for it myself, to be honest, because it's only a matter of time that these type of offenders, high profile S-offenders, that are all over, or they've been all over the news in the past, and everybody knows them. The officers all know who they are, the inmates know who they are, and someone along the way, and it won't be just one, there'll be a few times along the way throughout his sentence that he will become a victim to the prison justice. Prison justice will be handed to him on a, shall we say, served up, what's that saying? I can't remember. It doesn't matter. But anyways, he will get his prison justice sooner or later, because they all do. Bit like Ian Huntley. He's been attacked on numerous occasions. A lot of the other ones have, though, the high-profile ones. But Wayne Couzens has had a major heart attack in prison. He was transferred, obviously, to the hospital outside. And this, I think, this is the reasons why it's been kept hush-hush and it wasn't in the media attention. Because as you can imagine, if people get wind that the likes of Wayne Couzens has been taken into hospital with a heart attack, it's not going to take people long to figure out which hospital he's in. In County Durham, the main hospital from Frankland is Durham University Hospital, which is Dryburn. And that's probably the place where they would take him first. Or if it is more serious, you then get transferred to the RVI, which is in Newcastle, the Royal Victoria Infirmary. So if you imagine this gets put out in the news straight away, the officers or whoever inside of the prison lets slip that Wayne Couzens is in an outside hospital, they won't want to risk that type of publicity, because Wayne Couzens is a Category A. He's not high risk, but he's classed as a Category A high risk prisoner. He hasn't got the high risk status in prison, but if you take someone like him out of prison, transfer them to a hospital, then they become a high risk, Category high risk, because of his presence, or not his presence, because of the publicity surrounding him. So as you can imagine, there would probably be a lot of people wanting to pile down to the hospitals where he's at. More so, I think it would be a lot of females, a lot of women who have suffered at the hands of people like this, who would probably want to go down, maybe protest or try and get a little bit of justice themselves. So this will have been why it hasn't been in the public domain. But like I mentioned, the type of people that are watching my channel, it's not just people that have been to prison. It's not people that have turned their lives around. People that watch my channel, the majority of people haven't been to prison. They're intrigued in the prison stories, which the majority of the population, whether you like prisoners or not that a lot of people like prisoners, but what I mean is, if you are someone that hates prisoners or hates ex-prisoners or anyone that's been to prison or gets into trouble, which a lot of people that was watching my channel did actually have that mindset there. And after watching my channel and seeing the way that I come across, I've actually changed people's mindset about the way that they think or look at people that have been to prison. But getting back to the channel, talking about who watches it, the majority of people haven't been to prison, but they're intrigued in prison stories. Because I suppose if you're a law-abiding citizen, you've never been in trouble, you've never been to prison, and you hear stories about prison, you're fascinated by it, you want to know the seedy, the dark side of it, the underbelly of the prisons, which a lot of people do. I mean, I've been fascinated in those type of stories myself from a young age. Even now I like watching prison documentaries still. So this is the reason why I'm doing these type of videos, and these are the type of viewers that watch it. But again, there's a lot of ex-screws, servant screws, watching the channel. I mean, there's other channels up and running that's ex-screws doing stories and stuff. But again, it's the way you come across on your channel and how likeable you are. But I just thought I would bring that to the attention of the viewers, because you all like to hear these type of stories, and you are all dying to hear the prison justice, because these are the ones that you keep an eye out for the most. I've noticed the videos that I do talking about, should we say, despised prisoners that have done despicable crimes, because there is different categories of prisoners, and the most severe category of prisoner is the ones that have committed S offences. Those are the ones that are despised the most, and these are the ones that people like to hear about on my channel, about them getting served up inside of prison off the other convicts. Now, I'll not go into it too much about this video, but I'll tell you a little bit about, for the new people to my channel, because I've got a few thousand new subscribers in the past 28 days. So if you haven't already seen that video, I'll just give you a little brief rundown now about protection wings, what happens on them, and what type of prisoners are on there. If you've already seen this story up till now, you can just switch off, or you can continue watching it. Entirely up to you. But for the new subscribers, what happens is these type of prisoners go straight on to protection, which is Rule 43, and that's the reason why it gets called the numbers, because in prison, The protection wings, the slang terms are the bacon wings. Bacon bonds equals nonce. Also, bacon is a pig, comes from a pig is a beast, and a beast is an S-offender, the likes of Wayne Couzens. So these are the type of prisoners that get put straight onto protection, and a lot of the times when people get severely hurt inside a prison, it happens on the protection wings, believe it or not. It's sometimes another S-offender onto another one, but sometimes the severity of the attacks lead to death inside of prison. There's been a lot of deaths in prison on the S-offender wings, on the protection wings. And again, there's a lot of people from normal location get put on protection for a variety of different reasons. And it's mostly because they get involved in drugs and they run up a drug debt. So they get put onto protection because they can't pay the bills. The grass on the other inmates who are supplying the drugs inside of the prison, and they put themselves on protection. So grasses, people that run up drug debts, these type of prisoners get put on protection. So you can imagine someone from a normal location who's been living with the normal lads. He's in for what you would class as a normal offence, if you can call it normal, but not an S offence. An offence maybe is violence or something similar, drugs. And they have been living with these type of criminals for a number of years. Then they get put in with these S offenders. And a lot of the time, it's these prisoners that attack them because they can't stand the way they're going on the wings, they're swaggering about, thinking there's something, and these type of inmates won't stand for it, and they act out their own prison justice. Sometimes they do it just to get put back up on the main location and go on and hold their head up and say that they done whatever. And I have known some people to get themselves put on protection on purpose just to get a hold of somebody that is down there that they seriously want to get. And believe it or not, this does happen. It happened whilst I was in Frankland. Somebody that was on the normal location wings, we couldn't believe it when he put himself on protection, but the reason he done it was because somebody that was down on them wings had done something to his daughter previously, and he got this particular person on protection was in prison for something different, not for what he'd done to his daughter, but he put his cell down there so he could act out his own justice and get a hold of this fella. But we didn't actually hear anything after that. We didn't know the story. No one knew whether he got a hold of him or not, because obviously when people go down there, you have no more contact with them. So we don't know whether he did actually get a hold of him and then they shipped him out to another prison, which is the probability that did happen, but we didn't hear nothing after that. So just to let people know that when these type of offenders go to prison and they get put on protection, they are not fully protected. They will become unstuck at some point throughout the sentence. Someone will get them and they will be seriously hurt. And the likes of Wayne Couzens isn't that old. I should have had a look before I'd done this. I think he's around about 50. So he's not that old to be having a heart attack. Heart attacks normally happen in your later life, and especially if people are unfit. And with him being a serving police officer at the time, he would have kept himself relatively fit, because obviously I'd imagine police officers have to do certain tests to pass fitness tests. So I can imagine he must have been quite fit throughout his his police officer years. So this heart attack could all be leading, or could lead back to stress. He'll be stressed in his sentence, watching his back every day, thinking, is this the day that I'm going to be attacked? And that's one of the possibilities why he's had this heart attack, which it probably will be. Having to live with all that stress on your back, knowing what he's done, and that he's going to be attacked at some point. But most of these high-profile ones, they all get attacked at some point throughout the sentence. So there will be a point when I do a video talking about when he gets attacked inside of prison. It's inevitable. You can't expect to be in prison for that type of offence and that type of person. I mean, an ex-police officer in prison will probably get attacked anyways. But an ex-police officer who's committed an S offence and a murder on a defenseless woman whilst on duty. Or he might not have been on duty, sorry, but he was a serving police officer at the time, and I think he had his uniform on when he done it. You can imagine people will be wanting to get a hold of him and act out their own prison justice. But I'll leave that one there for now, people. Hopefully you did enjoy that. I know people do enjoy the longer videos. A lot of people might say he's ranting on, but if you're still watching, then you've definitely enjoyed the video. But remember to people to comment, like, and subscribe. Take care, everyone.